Hello everyone. So in this video, I will be finishing the last chapters in The Fall of Five by Pittacus Lore, so that's exciting. I know in the last video we had a major death, and that was really sad. So we will be picking up, and of course that's going on, and some other things are going on, so we'll figure out how this is going to end so far. Alright, so we'll be starting on, if I can get to it, Chapter 35. I walk through a decimated city. I'm right in the middle of the road, but there isn't any traffic. Totaled cars are piled up on the sidewalks, many of them just burned out shells. The buildings nearby, the ones still standing anyway, are crumbling and covered in scorch marks. My sneakers crunch across a blanket of broken glass. The city isn't familiar to me. It isn't Chicago. I'm somewhere else. How did I get here? The last thing I remember is Ella grabbing my arm and then this place. An acrid burning smell fills the air, inescapable. My eyes burn from the clouds of ash blown through the empty streets. I can hear crackling in the distance somewhere. A fire is still burning. I keep moving forward through the deserted war zone. At first, I don't think there are any people. Then I notice a handful of filthy men and women huddled inside the gutted remains of an apartment complex. They stand around a burning trash barrel, warming themselves. I raise my hand in greeting and shout, "Hey! What happened here?" Seeing me, the humans shrink back. They're frightened, one by one disappearing into the shadows of the building. I guess I'd be wary of strangers too if I lived through whatever happened here. I keep moving. The wind howls through the broken windows and sagging doorways. My ears perk up. If I strain to listen, I can almost hear a voice carried on the wind. "John, help me, John." The voice is thin and distant, but I still recognize it. Ella. I realize where I am. Well, not where I am geographically, but where my mind is. Somehow, I've been pulled into Ella's nightmare. It feels so real, but then so did those horrible taunting visions that Citricus Ra used to inflict on me. I close my eyes, focus, and try to force myself awake. It doesn't work. When I open my eyes, I'm still standing in this broken city. "Ella?" I say, feeling a little silly, speaking to thin air. Where are you? How did you get here?" There's no response. A torn piece of newspaper blows across my path, and I reach down to snatch it. It's the front page of the Washington Post, so that must be where I am. The paper is dated a few years from now. This is a vision of the future, and it's one that I hope never comes to pass. I remind myself that this is how Citricus Ra toys with us. Everything here is in his creation. Even knowing that, the picture on the front page causes my breath to catch. An armada of Mogadorian ships emerges from a cloudy Washington sky hovering right over the White House. The headline is just one word, in bold capital letters: Invasion. I hear a rumbling sound from ahead of me, toss the newspaper away, and start jogging towards it. A dark military truck crosses through the intersection, moving slowly, flanked on all sides by Mogadorians. I quickly come to a stop and consider ducking into one of the nearby alleys for safety, but the Mogs don't seem to notice me. A crowd of people shuffles along behind the truck. They're humans, gaunt and pale, their clothes torn rags, all of them looking dirty and hungry, many of them wounded. They walk along with their heads down, their faces grim, marching sullenly. Mogadorian warriors armed with cannons walk alongside them. The dark tattoos that cover their scalps displayed proudly. Unlike the humans, the Mogs are all smiling. Something is happening, an event of some kind, one that the Mogadorians want the humans to witness. The wind picks up again. "John, this way." I slip into the crowd and walk along with the humans, keeping my head bowed. I steal an occasional glance around. The Washington Monument protrudes jaggedly on the horizon, the top half of it sheared off. A feeling of dread fills my stomach. This is what the future will look like if we fail. The crowd is led to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. There are other people already there, waiting for the sick Mogadorian sideshow to begin. The American flags that would normally hang above the memorial have been taken down, replaced by black flags bearing a red Mogadorian symbol. Even worse are the chunks of stone piled along the sides of the road. Well, I think they're stones at first. On closer inspection, I make out the chiseled face of Lincoln, a huge crack running down the center of his forehead. The Mogadorians have broken down the statue and tossed it out of the memorial. I push my way to the front of the crowd. None of the humans seem all that eager to be at the front, so they let me through without a problem. A line of Mog warriors stands at the base of the steps, keeping watch on these dispirited people, their cannons pointed into the crowd. Setrekis Ra lounges in a throne at the top of the Lincoln Memorial. His massive frame is clad in a black uniform, covered in epaulets, and medals. A huge Mogadorian sword protected by an ornamental scabbard is laid across his lap. 7 Loric pendants hang from around his neck, their cobalt surfaces shimmering in the afternoon light. His black eyes idly scan the crowd. They pass right over me and I flinch, ready to run, but he doesn't seem to notice me. "John, do you see me?" I have to stifle a gasp. Ella is seated in a smaller throne next to Setrekis Ra. She looks older and paler. Her hair is dyed jet black and bound in a tight braid worn down her shoulder. She's wearing a dress so elegant that it almost seems meant to taunt the tattered humans that stare at her in awe. Her face is stony, like she's long become immune to grim scenes like this one. Setrekis Ra holds her hand. I fight back the urge to rush up the steps and try to kill him, reminding myself that none of this is real, and anyway, even if it was, I wouldn't stand a chance. An entire army of Mogadorians stands between me and Setrekis Ra. The crowd parts to let the military truck I saw before pull up to the Lincoln Memorial steps. The back of the truck is open and I can see 2 prisoners huddled inside, their heads down and hands shackled. There's something familiar about them. Setrekis Ra stands up when the truck parks. A hush falls across the crowd. "Bring them forward," he shouts. A stout Mogadorian warrior steps out of the ranks. He's not like the others. He's not so pale, and the dark tattoos across his scalp seem almost new. He wears a patch over one eye, and his working eye isn't the soulless black of a Mogadorian. I take an involuntary step backwards as I realize that I'm not looking at a Mogadorian at all. It's 5. What the hell is going on here? Why is he wearing that uniform? 5 leads the first prisoner down from the back of the truck. He's a little older and there's a long scar running horizontal across his nose and cheeks, but I still immediately recognize Sam. He keeps his head down, not making eye contact with 5, looking haunted and defeated. I notice Sam has a bad limp, and that becomes all the more apparent when he's forced to climb the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. He stumbles, almost falls, and some of the Mogadorian onlookers chuckle at the humiliating display. I feel rage bubbling up inside me and have to take a deep breath as I feel my lumens starting to activate. The second prisoner doesn't go as meekly as Sam. Even with her hands and feet shackled, 6 stands tall. Her blonde hair has been shorn into boyish spikes, and her face is contorted into a perpetual mask of anger, yet she's strikingly beautiful. She sweeps her eyes across the crowd of humans, and many of them look down in response, ashamed. 5 says something to her that I can't hear, but his soft features are almost apologetic. In response, 6 spits in his face. As 5 wipes the spit off his cheek, a group of Mogadorian guards grab 6 and drag her up the steps. She's a fighter until the very end. 6 and Sam are made to kneel before Setrekis Ra. He glowers at them for a moment, then turns to address the crowd. "Behold," he shouts, his voice carrying above the silent masses, "the last of the Loric resistance. Today our society celebrates a great victory over those who would stand in the way of Mogadorian prowess." The Mogs all cheer. The humans stay quiet. My mind is racing. If 6 and Sam are the last remaining, then that means, in this future, I'm already dead, and so are all the others. Those pendants dangling from Setrekis Ra's neck, one of those is mine. I remind myself again that none of this is real, but I feel terrified all the same. 5 walks up the steps and stands beside Setrekis Ra. He holds the ornamental sheath as Setrekis pulls free his glowing broadsword. Setrekis brandishes the sword for all to see, then takes a practice swing just above Sam's head. Someone in the crowd screams and is quickly silenced. Today, we cement a lasting peace between humans and Mogadorians," continues Setrekis. "At last, we will finally stamp out the final threat to our glorious existence." This sure doesn't look glorious. The humans have clearly been beaten down over months and months of Mogadorian occupation. I wonder how many would join me if I tried to charge Setrekis Ra. Probably none. I don't feel angry at them, but angry at myself. I should have saved them, should have prepared them better for what's coming. Setrekis isn't done giving his speech. "On this historic day, I have chosen to bestow the honor of sentencing to she who will one day succeed me as your beloved leader." With a grand gesture, Setrekis Ra motions to Ella. "Heir? Heir, how do you rule?" "Heir? That doesn't make any sense. Ella isn't a Mogadorian. She's one of us. I don't have time to figure out what this all means. I watch as Ella rises shakily from her throne, seeming almost drugged. She stares down at Six and Sam, her eyes dark and impassive. Then she gazes into the crowd, her eyes settling on me. Execute them, Ella says. Very well, Setrekis replies. He bows deeply and then, in one fluid motion, chops off Six's head with his sword. The crowd is deathly silent as her body topples over, so quiet that I can hear Sam screaming. He falls across Six's body, crying and yelling. I feel the searing pain on my ankle. A new scar is forming. I close my eyes as Five lifts up Sam, turning him towards Setrekis Ra's blade. I don't want to see what happens next, how badly I failed them all. It's not real, I repeat to myself. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. Chapter 36. I know he's gone. I can still feel the lingering pain from the new scar on my leg. I might never stop feeling it. It could be with me for the rest of my life. I have to try. I fall to my knees in the mud next to Eight's body. The wound doesn't even look so bad. There's not as much blood as there was in New Mexico, and Eight lived through that. I should be able to heal this, right? It should work. It has to work. But this one is right on his heart, straight through. I press my hands across the puncture and will my legacy to kick in. I did it before. I can do it again. I have to. Nothing happens. I feel cold all over, but it's not the iciness of my legacy. I wish I could lie down next to Eight here in the muck and just shut out everything that's going on around me. I'm not even crying. It's like the tears have gone out of me and I just feel hollow. Just a few yards away, Five is shouting, but my mind can't process what he's saying. The blade he used to stab Eight has retracted back into its wrist-mounted sheath. His hands are on his head like he can't believe what he's just done. At the base of the trees, Nine has fallen silent, in a state of shock. If only he'd shut up moments ago and not egged Five on. Six is finally struggling back to her feet, looking groggy, trying to make sense of a new scar on her ankle. Everything has fallen apart. It was an accident, Five is babbling. I didn't mean to do that. Marina, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Be quiet, I hiss. That's when I hear the dreaded hum of a Mogadorian ship's engine. The tall grass around us begins blowing wildly as the sleek silver vessel starts descending from the sky. This was all just a setup orchestrated by Five, so of course he'd have backup waiting in the wings. I lean over and touch a gentle kiss to Eight's cheek. I want to say something, to tell him what an amazing person he was, how much better he made this terrifying life we're forced to lead. I'll never forget you, I whisper. I feel a hand on my shoulder. I whip around to find Five standing over me. It doesn't have to be this way, he's saying, pleading with me. This was a horrible mistake. I know that, but everything I said is the truth. He's insane. Insane to touch me. I can't believe he'd even have the audacity to do that after what he just did. Shut up, I warn him. You can't win, Marina, he continues. You're better off joining with me. You... Five stammers as his breath mists in front of his mouth, the humidity around us cut by a sudden chill. His teeth chatter. What are you doing? Something in me snaps. I've never felt anger like this before, and it's almost comforting. The icy feeling of my healing legacy spreads through me, but it's different somehow. Freezing and bitter and dead. I'm radiating cold. Near Five in me, the murky swamp water crackles as the surface turns instantly to ice. The plants within my radius begin to wither, drooping under the flash freeze. Marina, stop! Five, hugging himself to keep warm, takes a step away from me. His feet nearly go out from under him as he slips on the ice. With this new legacy coursing through me, I act on pure furious instinct. I jerk my hand upwards and the ice takes shape beneath Five, a jagged icicle forming from the ground and thrusting upwards. He's not quick enough to get out of the way, and the icicle stabs straight through his foot, pinning him to that spot. Five screams, but I don't care. Five pitches forward and grabs at his impaled foot, just as another icicle juts up from the ground. It strikes Five right in the face. If it was any larger, it would have probably killed him. Instead, it merely takes out one of his eyes. Five falls to the frozen ground awkwardly, his foot still impaled. He clutches at his face, screaming, "Stop it! Please stop it!" He's a monster and he deserves this. But no, I can't do it. I'm not like him. I won't kill one of my own people in cold blood, even after what he's done. "Marina!" Six shouts. "Come on!" The Mogadorian ship has landed and its doors are opening. Over by the tree, its branches now sagging under the weight of fresh ice. Six has thrown Nine over her shoulder. She holds her hand out to me. I take one last look at Five. He holds both his hands over his face, grasping at his ruined eye. He's crying, the tears turning to frost on his cheeks. "If I see you again, you traitorous bastard," I yell, "I'll take the other fucking eye." Five makes a weak gurgling sound. Pathetic. I'm about to run to Six, but stop. At my feet, encased in a solid chunk of ice, is Eight's body. As I realize what I've done, the air around me begins to warm up. I kneel down and press my hands to the sheet of melting ice that separates me from Eight. I want to take him with us, to keep him away from the Mogadorians and lay him to rest like he deserves, but there's no time to wait for the ice to melt. Six is shouting at me and the Mogs are closing in. "I'm sorry," I whisper, feeling numb all over. I race over to Six and grab her outstretched hand. We turn invisible. Chapter 37. I snap awake and sit up ramrod straight in a bed that isn't my own. I know immediately that I'm back in reality, the searing pain of a new scar burning into my ankle enough to wake me up. But wait, that nightmare wasn't supposed to be real. I shouldn't have actually gotten a scar, and yet I can feel the burned skin stinging and raw, the pain more than skin deep. That part of the nightmare was real. We've lost someone. I don't have time to think through things, barely even have time to assess my situation. Sam is shouting at me. "John, get down!" There's a Mogadorian standing in front of the bedroom window, a broken window, cold air blowing in from outside. When did that happen? He's aiming a cannon at me. My instincts take over and I roll to my left just as the Mog shoots the space where seconds ago I was comatose. From the floor next to the bed, I shove the Mog with my telekinesis. He flies backwards, out the window and into the empty air, and plummets to the street below. It's bedlam, the chaos in the real world more intense than in Sitrekis Raw's vivid nightmare. The bedroom has been completely torn apart by blaster fire. Sarah is standing in the doorway using a broken bookshelf for cover. With one arm, she cradles Ella's still unconscious body, and with the other she haphazardly sprays machine gun fire into the hallway. Beneath the gunfire, with my enhanced hearing, I can hear Mogadorians swarming through the penthouse. There's so many of them, yet for some reason it doesn't seem like Sarah's taking any return fire. It's because she's holding Ella, I realize. Sitrekis Raw wants. I can't believe I'm even thinking this. Haven't even had time to process what it means. His heir brought in alive. That's why the Mogs aren't shooting at Sarah. They're afraid to hit Ella. Sam is on the floor next to me. He's cradling Malcolm, who has a massive blaster wound in his midsection. His breathing is shallow and he's barely conscious. It doesn't look like he has long left. "What the hell happened here?" I shout to Sam. "They found us!" Sam replies, "Someone betrayed us!" I remember seeing Five in that Mogadorian uniform, and I immediately know the truth. "Where's everybody else?" "They went to the Everglades for the mission." Sam points at my leg, his eyes wide and frightened. "I saw your ankle light up. What does that mean?" Before I can answer, I hear Sarah scream. Her gun is making an empty clicking sound, and, realizing that she's empty, the Mogs have descended on her. One of them reaches through the doorway and buries a dagger deep into her shoulder. She falls to the ground, grasping her shoulder as another Mog reaches in and yanks Ella violently from Sarah's arms. I light up my lumen, but it's too dangerous to launch a fireball while the Mogs are holding Ella. They're out of range quickly, disappearing down the hallway in retreat. I reach out with my telekinesis and drag Sarah over to us. "Are you all right?" I ask, quickly looking over the wound in her shoulder. It looks bad, but not fatal. Sarah looks stunned and relieved to see me awake. "John!" she exclaims and yanks me in close with her good arm. It's not even a half-second hug. Sarah shoving me away, realizing the danger. "Go! You have to stop them!" I leap to my feet, ready to tear off after the retreating Mogadorians. I stop myself, looking down at Sam and his father. Malcolm is still alive, but fading fast. The way Sam crunches over him, holding his hand, it reminds me of that night at Paradise High School when I was powerless to stop Henry from dying. I could save him, I realize. Healing Malcolm would mean letting the Mogs escape with Ella, though. It would bring Sitrekis Raw closer to what he wants, a future that I still don't entirely understand, but one where Ella rules over humanity alongside him. Sam looks up at me, his cheeks wet with tears. "John, what are you waiting for? Go help Ella!" I think of that Sam I saw in the nightmare, how tired and beaten down he looked, his spirit gone out of him. I think of how badly it hurt me to lose Henry. I can't let my friend go through all that, not after he and Malcolm have just found each other again. Letting Ella go, the future I could be dooming her to. No, there will be time to stop that later, I tell myself. I have to help Malcolm now. I kneel back down and press my hands to Malcolm's stomach, and his wound begins to close slowly beneath my touch. Finally, some color begins to return to Malcolm's face, and his eyes open. Sam is staring at me. You let them take her. I made a choice, I reply. They won't hurt her. How can you know... How can you know that? Sarah asks. Because Ella, I shake my head, will save her. We will stop them. All of us, together, I swear. Sam grabs my shoulder. Thank you, John. As soon as I'm finished with Malcolm, I turn my attention to healing Sarah. The wound in her shoulder is clean. She brushes her fingers against my cheek while my legacy is working. What happened to you? She asks. What did you see? I shake my head, not wanting to talk about the vision until I've really had time to figure out what's happened. Unlike Sam, I don't think Sarah noticed the new scar appear on my ankle, and I don't want to bring that up either. It's quiet now. The Mogs have retreated with Ella, but we still need to get out of here. There's no way the cops missed this battle. I just want to get Sarah healed and all of us somewhere safe. Looks like you kicked some ass while I was out, I say. We did our best, she replies. Sarah's wound all healed up. I glance around. We need to move. Where's BK? I see Sarah and Sam exchange a grim look. My heart drops. He went to the roof to hold them off, Sam says. He didn't come back. He's tough. He could still be alive. He's tough. He could still be alive, Sarah says. Yeah, definitely, Sam replies, but he doesn't sound confident. Thinking about BK and whichever one of the guard is dead in the Everglades almost makes me break down. I bite down hard on the inside of my cheek and focus on the pain. I stand up. There will be time for mourning later. Right now, we need to get out of here before the Mogs decide to come back and kill us. Time to go, I say, helping Malcolm to his feet. Thank you for saving my life, John, he says. Now, let's get the hell out of this place. The four of us rush out of the bedroom with Sam helping Malcolm along. The lights have all gone out, a circuit probably blown during the fighting. There aren't any Mogadorians waiting for us in the living room, but I can see by the destruction that they've definitely done some redecorating. For a moment I imagine how mad Nine will be when he gets back, if he's even alive, and then I realize that we're never going to be able to come back to this place. It was a good home for a while, but now it's gone, destroyed like so much else by the Mogadorians. Through the shattered windows I can hear sirens wailing from the street below. This attack by the Mogadorians was way more brazen than usual. It's probably going to be pretty hard to sneak out undetected. Amazingly, the penthouse elevator is still operational. I hustle Sarah, Sam, and Malcolm inside and hit the button for the parking garage, but I don't get in the elevator. What are you doing? Sarah cries, grabbing my arm. We won't be able to come back here. It's going to be crawling with cops and probably the feds that work for the Mogs. I have to get our chests and see if I can find BK. Sam steps forward. I can help. No, I reply. Go with Sarah and your dad. With my telekinesis, I can carry them myself. You promised we'd stay together, Sarah says, her voice shaky. I pull her close to me. You're my getaway driver, I tell her. Get the fastest of Nine's cars and meet me by the zoo. You guys shouldn't have a problem getting out, but they might be looking for me. I should be able to jump to the next roof and get down that way. I step back from the elevator, then lunge forward to plant one last kiss on Sarah. I love you, I tell her. I love you too, she replies. The elevator doors hiss closed. I race through the destroyed penthouse and back to the workshop. It's been wrecked too, all this hard work, the lecture hall, never to be used again. I try to think only practical thoughts. What should I take with me? The first thing I grab is the tablet that shows our locations. 4 dots still displaying in Florida. Damn it, that's one too few. I'm not ready to focus on the identity of the one we've lost, or what to do about Ella, or the fact that Sotrekis Ra might actually be Lorik. I grab a stray duffel bag from beneath an overturned table and duck into the lecture hall to load it up with guns. I stow the tablet in there too and throw that over my shoulder. I want to keep my hands free just in case any Mogs are still lurking around, so I levitate all of our chests with my telekinesis. With all the windows blown out, I can easily hear the sirens wailing down below. This is all I'll be able to carry. It's time to get back on the run. The inheritance is floating behind me. I run out of the workshop and back through the penthouse. I need to get to the roof to see if BK made it out alive. Before I can reach the stairs, the elevator dings open. Damn it, I was too slow. I look over my shoulder, expecting to see some of Chicago's finest with guns drawn. Instead, it's a lone Mogadorian, pale as usual, dark hair in his face, younger than normal, and he looks different than other Mogs I've seen, more human. A gun pointed in front of him, at me. All the chests thunk to the floor as I redirect my telekinesis, snatching the gun out of his hands. Hey! He screams. And if he says something else, I'm not listening. I'm thinking about the friends I lost tonight, the dark future I had to suffer through. Killing the stranger Mogadorian won't change any of that, but it's a start. I pitch a fireball in his direction, but he dives out of the way, hiding behind the torn-up husk of a couch. I lift it up with my telekinesis and fling it aside. He holds up his hands, surrendering. I'd probably think that was weird if I was thinking at all. Too late for that, I growl. Just as I'm about to hurl another fireball at him, the Mog stomps on the floor. The whole room shakes, furniture tipping over, the carpet rippling like there's a wave passing underneath it, and then the seismic jolt knocks me backwards, stumbling, and I feel the cold fingers of open air clawing at my back. Stupid. I was standing right in front of a broken window. I swing my arms desperately, trying to regain my balance, but I don't fall. He's got me. The Mogadorian has grabbed me by the front of the shirt. I don't want to fight you, he shouts in my face. Stop attacking me! As soon as he's reeled me back in, I shove him away. He doesn't come at me, but he remains crouched, ready to dodge anything I might throw at him. You're 4, he says. How do you know that? They know what you look like, John Smith. What all of you look like, and so do I, he hesitates. Except I also remember seeing you as a child, running for a ship while my people murdered yours. You're the one Malcolm and Sam talked about. My voice comes through gritted teeth. I can't shake the feeling that I should run or fight when faced with his kind. It's ingrained in me, but I try to keep it in check. Adamus Sutkith. The Mog introduces himself. I prefer Adam. Your people killed a friend of mine tonight, Adam. I spit, knowing my anger is unreasonable, not able to help myself. And they kidnapped another. I'm sorry, he says. I came as quickly as I could. Are Malcolm and Sam safe? Well, I just don't know how to react to that. A Mog showing compassion. Even if Sam and Malcolm said it was true, I still never really imagined it. Yeah, they're fine. Good, Adam replies. His voice still has the harshness of a Mogadorian. We need to get out of here. We? You're hurt, angry, Adam says, moving cautiously closer to me, like I might suddenly take a swing at him. I get that, but if you want to hurt them back, I can help. I'm listening. Adam extends his hand to me. I know where they live. Something recoils inside of me at the sight of that pale hand waiting for mine. But if what I saw in that vision was true, if 5 was working for the Mogadorians, then why shouldn't we have one of them working with us? I take Adam's hand, squeezing hard. He doesn't cringe, only looks me right in the eye. All right, Adam, I say. You're going to help me win this war. And that is the end of The Fall of 5, guys. I know it's been a while. I know it took a long time. In the next video, we will be picking up and starting, well, we'll not be picking up, we'll be starting the next book in the series, The Revenge of 7. And it's green. It's looks pretty. So yeah, it will be The Revenge of 7. Alright, leave me some comments below letting me know what you thought about the end of this book. A lot happened, and I know I broke it up, but I had to. Alright, that's it for now. Until next time, reading by Ree. Bye, guys.